know how to keep this one. I don't like it.
Yes.
Okay, is everybody ready? Are you guys ready? Megan? Yeah, I'm gonna call this meeting to order. Would you like to someone like to take a look at the agenda and someone make a motion to adopt the agenda as is?
I make a motion that we adopt the agenda as presented.
I'll second.
All in favor? Okay, motion has carried. Okay, we would like to take a moment to appoint, a new board member. Pat, would you like to make a motion?
Yes. I would like to make a motion to appoint Dustin Martinson to the vacant board position number 6.
And I will recuse myself from that.
And it expires 6/30/25. Is there a second? Second. All in favor? Okay, the motion has carried. Dustin, would you like to come on up and take your oath of office? I'm on it.
It's over. This copy's over there. This copy's
Oh.
over there.
Okay. Go ahead, raise your right hand, say aye, and state your name.
I, Dustin Martinson,
Do solemnly swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States of America
do solemnly swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States of America
and the Constitution of the State of Oregon
and the Constitution of the State of Oregon
and the laws thereof,
and the laws thereof,
and will faithfully and honorably demean myself
and will faithfully and honorably demean myself
in the office of Director of the Nissa School District Number 26,
in the office of Director of the Nissa School District number 26,
position number 6, expiring 6/30/25,
position number 6, expiring 6/30/25,
to which I have been appointed
to which I have been appointed
to the best of my ability, so help me God.
to the best of my ability, so help me God.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Congratulations. And have a seat. Okay, we have some visiting patrons. First up is Dallas Waldo of Waldo Insurance. Come on up.
Thank you. You want me to come up there or? Okay. Yeah. I used to be able to do that. Well, thank you very much. And thanks for having me, all board members. July 1st is when we renew our property and casualty insurance and workers' comp insurance. So I'm here for that purpose, to give you news on the renewal and to field any questions you might have. As I thought about it, driving down here this evening, I remembered last year we had a 3% total increase in coverage or in our premiums. And I say that I just wanted to remind you what it was like last year. If you buy insurance, which all of us are buying insurance these days, it is the hardest market that we've seen in years. I haven't been in the insurance industry as long as some, but you remember Ray, of course. They haven't seen a hard market like this. So a lot of it is in the property insurance, and when I go through this, you'll see that was the largest part of the increase, was in property. This year we had an 18.25% increase in our property and casualty coverage. Property insurance across the board is where we see all of our increases. This year, our last appraisal was in 2019 that we get as a free service from PACE with CBIZ. So we should be coming up on another appraisal in a year or two. I'd be surprised if it didn't happen in 2024. But they increased our property values again this year by 10%. So that has a lot to do with the increase in premium. The rates went up $2 as well on property from last year. That has a lot to do with our premium increase. So I'll just go through. We do have insurance is the positive thing, but I'll just go through and talk about the different types of insurance. Of course, we have the property coverage. We have a total of $75 million and change on blanket building. That includes our business personal property and our mobile equipment. The deductible on that is $5,000. We have earth movement. I think we explained last year they've gone away from earthquake and they call it earth movement now, and flood insurance with a $10 million coverage limit. Auto coverage, of course, for physical damage, per schedule of autos, including hired auto if you rent a car or use a car that's not ours. Physical damage limit of $75,000 on that. The physical damage on our owned autos is what we specify in the policy, so they all have their limits. We have liability for auto at $500,000 per occurrence. This includes non-owned and hired. So non-owned is if Darren uses his car in the course of doing something for the school district and there's an accident and he's at fault, and we have liability coverage for that. The $500,000 may not seem like very much, but that's the first layer. We have a $14.5 million second layer of liability that follows that. So we have very good limits. On liability coverage, the insurance that we buy for other people and their stuff, we have, this is a change from last year. We've in years past had $20 million per occurrence. They've lowered that to $10 million per occurrence and $20 million aggregate. So $20 million for the year. That includes bodily injury and property damage if we're found liable. Wrongful acts coverage, and that's the coverage that comes in for the decisions that you make as a school board. Actual or alleged errors, misstatements, misleading statements, and so on. So there's coverage for the school board members. And then employment-related practices we have in this $10 million per occurrence, and that's for discrimination, wrongful termination, workplace harassment, retaliation, and so on. We do have an HVAC, an equipment breakdown coverage included in this property, and like our HVAC system, it is old and it's being replaced, but had it suddenly crashed, not because of its age, but electrical failure or so on, then that's the type of coverage where equipment breakdown comes in. It's equipment that generates, transmits, or utilizes energy, including electronic communications and data processing equipment. That's where we find coverage for that. There is $500,000 for employee theft, funds transfer fraud, forgery, and alteration. That's under the crime coverage. The violent acts crisis expense, I remember talking about this last year, they still have the limit of $50,000. And that's just all that the reinsurance is going to give us. So that's a very low. I did write down some of the things that it would help pay for in a crisis. Emergency management consulting, counseling expenses, hazardous cleanup expenses, transportation away from the site for victims. That's some of the coverages that would help with. And then cyber liability, $1 million per coverage period. But as we talked last year, just $5 million for the entire state of Oregon, all the schools under the PACE program. And it's not our own policy, we're added as additional insureds under the PACE buys the program, or ISBA, and then all the schools are just additional insureds. So it's very good coverage. It's just if several incidents happen, and then we're third or fourth, they could be out of their coverage limit. So we have gone to the markets and looked similar policy, a standalone, at the high end could be $16,000 per year with a $25,000 deductible. The one just below that, equal coverage, right around $14,000 a year with $2,500. And in visiting with Adam and Darren about this, Adam just felt that the cost of benefit just wasn't there. Of course, you can deliberate amongst yourselves. We have backups daily, 2 backups. We back up on the server, we back up in the cloud. Microtech is who the district uses for their IT. Adam feels very comfortable that we can get ahead of things if an event does happen. He feels that we're prepared. And so it is something to think about, though. And so our total premium this year is $248,101 for all those lines of coverage. There is one more coverage, and the sheet that you would have got on the back is our workers' compensation. And this year we did have an increase in our workers' comp. And workers' comp is based on 3 things largely. That's your payroll, it's on the rate per class code, and it's on your experience, so your loss experience. There was an increase in all 3 of those this year. And so our experience mod went from 1.01 to 1.21. That doesn't mean that this year was a horrible year, but the way work comp works is every year, a year 4 years ago drops off, and the new year is added. So if a year with little losses drop off and a year comes on with more losses, so the year that just came on had a frequency issue, not so much a large claim issue, but just a frequency issue, and that's all used in the calculation. So we did go up, our workers' comp premium did go up this year to $64,000 from $47,000 last year. And if there's any questions, I'd be happy to try and answer them.
Does anybody have any questions for Mr. Wall? Okay, we do need to approve this, am I correct? Okay, would someone like to make a motion to approve having this insurance by Waldo's?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor? All right,
Thank
thank
you.
you very much.
Thank you, Dallas.
Hey, Mr. Sapp?
So I'm here, guys, asking for the ability to use a van and a gas card, vans hopefully, because we got invited to a baseball game at Seattle for the Mariners. We applied for a grant and we're given $5,000 bucks. And then part of the grant was they invite the teams that got the money to come up and watch a game. So we got like 20 boys that want to go and 20 other tickets we got going. So coaches and their families, it's going to be a pretty cool experience. But we need a little financial assistance just with the gas and transportation because we do not want our high school kids driving up. That's a long ways to be going. And I did some calculations. We drove to Lagoon recently for the senior trip. To fill up the van one time was $112, and that was 370 miles from Nissa to Farmington. Is that what it is, Farmington? Well, Nissa to Seattle is like 100 miles longer, so it'd be a little bit more expensive. To fill it up twice is $224 bucks. That's for once for each van, and then 2 times coming back as well as $448 bucks. So looking at $450 in fuel, which is a big deal for us and our families. So it'd be great if we could get some assistance from the school because we're already paying for food and for housing the kids. The coaches are paying for that.
How many kids and how many chaperones?
We will have 20 players going, and then probably 14 chaperones, and then has 12 chaperones, about 8 kids that belong to the coaches.
Have you guys done any fundraising?
No.
What is it?
The game, we're gonna leave the 16th and come home the 18th.
Just a few days now.
No, in July. Yeah. I mean, we've done fundraising, but that goes to players and equipment and uniforms and stuff in the field, so this is not a fundraising thing. This is just to get a little bit of help from the school.
So availability of fans, I mean, this is not a school sponsored activity, right? That we typically do, but I'm looking at Mr. Hawkins, the transportation guy, fans, not able to. Fans can't do it. We were recently notified by ODOT, ODD, that our bands are not ODOT approved, ODD approved. Right. Just fairly on that.
What's wrong with them? Why not with them?
They need a special classification, 1, 2 seats.
So that throws a,
So then we could take a minibus, or a couple of minibuses would be great.
any other questions for you?
With the buses, how does the fuel compare versus vans?
I would imagine probably a little bit higher on the cost because the vans are a little more gas efficient.
They seat.
I think they actually seat more, the buses will seat more.
14?
Yeah, so then we'd actually probably only have to take one, yeah. Because we've got people going up, parents that can take their kid and a couple other players, so we could just get away with one bus probably.
Just out of curiosity, on the side, you got a $5,000 grant from them? That's pretty cool. What does that go to?
Goes to
Equipment,
yeah,
whatever.
equipment, uniforms, stuff for the field, like I said, mostly what we use it for is just equipment for kids that can't afford gloves and cleats and all sorts of things. Now, there's only 10 schools in the Northwest that got selected. We got a pretty cool letter that said our school was the most important one that they got, so.
We actually have a fund that would help pay for students participating in pay-to-play sports. But I think, paying to play with these cleats, your event, kids who do stand in need of, not being able to fund that stuff. We do have money available in the district, and Crystal Rideau knows about that, and I know about that. We connect with that, and some of the money that we perhaps raised for that, district money could be used for those things.
That's good to know.
Yeah.
I guess my question would be is, where this is a transportation issue, is this even a board decision?
We typically come, if there's ever a school-sponsored activity for overnight, they come, we just finished talking about insurance, right? So Dallas is here, and if anything ever goes wrong, we want there to be full knowledge of the activities going on with district resources and district liability. So that's part of the reason we have people come before the board.
Who are the Mariners playing then?
They're playing the Indians. No, I'm sorry, the Twins.
Oh, that changed there.
Right. I was gonna tell you if it was the Yankees, but. Yeah.
But is this really a school-sponsored activity?
Well, it's the baseball team. They're gonna put our names on the board, like we're representing our school and their community.
I just remember when my daughter went to a basketball tournament in Seattle, they went to a WNBA game. They collected cans for 6 months to be able to do that. So,
I don't know, maybe we could.
Can the buses be used for this type of event? Is that an allowable activity?
Yeah.
It is.
And I guess the question is, Crystal, do we have the money someplace?
If it's in July, we have a whole new budget.
It's gonna get-
If you ask me for this month, we don't have money yet.
Yeah,
If
July
it's in
16th
July.
to the 18th, for sure.
The board could approve a certain amount of money, you could say yay for the whole thing, nay for the whole thing, parks over, whatever.
well, what do you guys do?
And you're asking for money for field plus the use of a bus.
The use of the bus and the gas card for fuel.
You guys would drive it.
Because we have
Yeah.
drivers.
I drive, Ryan Moody drives, Ryan Beck drives, all three of us drive.
You know you can only go 55, even though the speed limit's 75, I remember that. The police can be honking.
Yeah.
I guess what I would like to see is just a simple like car wash or fundraiser or something. I think that these opportunities are amazing and we need to take advantage of them. But, I mean, I'm only one person on this board, but I'd be okay with the transportation, but I would like to see boys kind of go forth a little effort to maybe.
They fundraise
Gas money.
before the season. This is just an expense that come up out of nowhere, and it's kind of a once in a lifetime opportunity for a lot of the kids. To get them in the summertime.
I would agree with that. I'd like to see it go.
Yeah. Well, we're going, whether you guys help us out or not.
When did the opportunity come on?
We just got an email back at the end of May.
Maybe a yard sale, I don't know, declutter, I'm just thinking, is that fundraiser?
I'm just thinking like, we're gonna be renting an Airbnb, the coaches are. Like, we're gonna spend probably a couple grand of our money, I mean, out of our pocket. And I get that you want the boys to do some fundraising, they've done that, they've already done it at the start of the season. They come down and they take care of the field all the time. We're literally representing our community, going to Seattle. I mean, if it's that big a deal, we can just figure it out on our own, truly we can.
Yeah, should we approve a certain amount, a bus and $500 in gas or something? Or do you guys have a different amount? What do you guys think?
We do have a bus that's available that is appropriate.
I don't know. Well, it's in July, so I imagine we could,
Summer school's over.
yeah, so it's over, so.
One of those maybe buses.
We'll even take the one with seatbelts and I'll strap them in myself. I guarantee you.
Somebody want to make a motion? Do we need to make a motion to let them use the bus and?
A certain amount of money for gas.
How much did you think you would need roughly?
So with the van, it was pretty easy to calculate. It was two vans, yeah, that was two vans, so it's less than $500 with two vans. How much do you think worse the bus is on?
It's gonna be under 5.
Yeah,
This is only one.
it's only one.
And you would have a certain.
Say so, want to make a motion?
We have 3 certified drivers.
I make a motion to approve the field trip if use of one bus and up to $500 of fuel on the card.
A second?
I'll second the motion.
All in favor, raise your right hand. Okay, motion is carried.
Thank you guys, it means a lot, truly. Appreciate it.
And can we have a report sometime back on
Yeah,
how?
the kids.
Yeah, well,
Maybe some pictures?
I think they're gonna have us on the field.
That would be,
So,
that would
but-
be nice.
Do you have any extra tickets?
It's gonna cost you some money.
Fundraising.
The free ones are already, they're already.
I'll do a fundraiser.
doing a car wash.
Yeah, we'll wash your car.
I'll wear the bulldog.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
It's in Seattle though, it won't be quite that hot.
Okay, our superintendent's report.
Well, thank you. You have my paper before you, but I just wanted to give a quick update on our HVAC project. As you can imagine, the HVAC project it's moving along, but it's moving a little slower than we had hoped, and that is not good because of the rain. We're having a little bit of unpredictability with the rain out there, but they're moving along with it. We try not to go over there because they're currently doing asbestos removal, so that's not a chance to be approaching and talking to people. Mr. Jackman, have you spoken to anybody over there?
We're meeting tomorrow, I'll talk about for updates and seeing exactly where we're at, but yes, I know about the problematic.
Yeah. I walked over there today, I was gonna talk to some people, but the asbestos removal guys were on top of the roof, there was some dust flying around, I thought, I probably shouldn't be here. So, anyway, so there's just that, and we do have a meeting tomorrow at the end, after Ed Tinsel. Reasons for the here today, Mr. Jackman, Mr. Cleaver, I know we have spoken at length about this on multiple occasions in ad council and otherwise. But I do believe, I don't know if we need to offer a whole lot of explanations, but I just feel like I want the community to know that this, many voices have been listened to, we've received input from teachers, how they feel about it, the impact on students, academically as well as the number, academically for their number of classes offered as well as, you know, the load, 8 classes a day is harder to keep track of than 7. So there's a lot of considerations about it. So, do you two want to add anything?
I have a handout that's going out to parents tomorrow. We'd like to see it. And basically, it comes down to two things. You know, we show all students get the classes they want to need, and the fact that we made a major change this year going to the 4-day school week. And we'd kind of like to see how that plays out without having other factors. We'd like to be able to make sure the effectiveness and how that helps our students. If we make two major changes at the same time, then it becomes very difficult to see a clear indicator of success with them working.
Yeah, I think that pretty well sums it up. I think in middle school, we use them very well. It gives kids lots of options. We're able to help kids with some intervention classes that they normally wouldn't have. And the majority of our kids also get a study hall of some type to be able to do the work and not have to do it at home. So I think it works out pretty well for us. Pretty good utilization rate. Gives kids opportunities to try different things that they wouldn't get to try in middle school. So they're able to be in band, and they're able to be in art, and they're able to be, you know, in multiple things. So I think it's really nice. So, okay.
Thank you.
I have those handouts to give out.
Yeah, if you give it to the board members, please.
Yeah, and just, it's gonna go, we wanted to make sure the board was informed first, but that's going out to parents tomorrow, so that they know and can plan. Thanks.
And the last update I wanted to give, and what I had written on my superintendent's report for you has changed even since I wrote that today. I received an email this afternoon about 6:15 from ODE with actually a list of students and families who are eligible for this. We just recently learned from ODE that students who've been removed from migrant status due to the investigation can still access services under certain qualifications. So ODE has provided us with that list. They've given us criteria before, and Tricia spent a lot of time. I'm sorry, Tricia, I just got it just a bit ago.
You're fine.
And so we'll look at that again tomorrow, or I'll send it out to everybody today, or as soon as the meeting's over. And we can look at that and make sure we're inviting students who are qualified per OMESC and ODE.
Is that quite a few students or?
Today we determined it was 47. So I have not looked at that list to see if those are the 47. No. They had to meet qualifications, and what in the migrant language they call some students PFS, priority for service. And so even within the migrant department, there's PFS students who are failing a certain number of classes, they're behind in credits toward graduation or attendance. There's different qualifications that qualify students to receive PFS status, and we provide additional service to them. And so these are the students we'll be talking about.
So just so that you know, what I did today is I looked at the list of students, and then I looked at different district criteria, and whether they're succeeding at that district criteria or failing that district criteria. And so we used our benchmark assessments that we use throughout the year, and then I gave the migrant department a list of the student and if they were meeting those benchmarks or if they weren't meeting those benchmarks, and which benchmarks they weren't meeting, so that they could determine eligibility.
How far into summer school are we?
A week and 2 days.
7 days, yeah, of 20.
So unfortunately, some of these kids are gonna miss
Half the
half of
summer
it.
school.
That's too bad.
But some of the kids that
But they'll
were on
get
the
that,
list
I
today
guess.
are
Yeah,
starting on Wednesday. So
If they're on the list today,
some of the kids that were on the list today are starting this Wednesday.
and we'll just have to cross-check that with the list I got today. So, anyway, that's my report.
Okay, thank you. Okay, next we have a financial report. That will be you.
Okay. So I wanted to let the board know, because Dallas just got done talking about insurance in our fiscal year 24 budget that was, approved by the budget committee. That budget contained $250,330 for our liability, property coverage. And I think his quote said, our renewal's gonna be $248. And then for workers' comp, that our budget has, $66,000 for workers' comp, and it's coming in at $64,000, so. So on that note, I'm gonna lead right into, the budget committee met on Tuesday, May 2nd. We had a really good meeting, went over the proposed, fiscal year 24 budget, page by page, line by line. You guys know how I work. That budget that was presented was a $36.6 million budget. And the committee, unanimously approved it to then, therefore, I bring it to the board for you guys to adopt it. So there's a couple things in your packet that I prepared that we have. This is how we have to do this to adopt the budget. There's a resolution adopting the budget. It breaks down the budget that the budget committee went over by the general fund, by our special revenue funds, our debt service fund, and our capital improvement funds. Of course, the budget that was proposed was a balanced budget, so there was $36.6 million of revenue coming in, $36.6 million going out. So, also, our debt service payment for fiscal year 24 will be $450,200. That is also in the budget. I saw no need to change our tax rate that we levy with the county because we're receiving enough money to pay our debt service at this point. In addition to the resolution of adopting the budget, making the appropriations, categorizing the tax that I just went over, we also have a GASB 54 that we do, and that is where we are committing as the board of directors that our entire fund balance in Fund 310, which is our debt service, all the money that's in that can only go towards our debt service payment. We can't use that money for anything else. And then also we're committing that everything in our Fund 440, which is our facilities management fund, can only be used to improve district buildings and facilities. So we can't use it for wages, can't use it for benefits, can't use it for books, just buildings. So both of those 2 pages in your packet, these are action items that the board will have to vote on in order for us to move forward to start next fiscal year.
Okay, so we need to make a motion to approve A through D action items, or all at once?
Or do we have to do this?
You don't have to do them separate.
It's in the consent agenda.
No, it's not. This is in consent.
I think just my monthly financials are in the consent agenda. I wanted to do this separately, so.
So we need to make a motion to adopt the budget as is.
So you're adopting the budget and then the resolution, adopting the budget, making appropriations, imposing the tax, categorizing the tax, and then adopting GASB 54.
Okay, would someone like to make a motion to adopt that?
I will make a motion that we adopt the budget for fiscal year 23-24 in the total amount of $36,683,062. That we also adopt resolution adopting the budget, resolution making appropriations, resolution imposing the tax, resolution categorizing the tax, and that we also adopt the GASB 54.
Okay, all in favor? Okay, motion has carried. carries.
Thank you. That's a lot of work, appreciate it. In addition, in your packets, I have the general fund expenditures as of May 31st. And Dustin, did you get your packet before or just tonight? Probably a lot.
Yeah, I was able to look at it over the weekend.
Okay, so just so you
I was
know,
able to digest.
yeah, just so you know, monthly, I'll give an overview of our general fund,
Okay.
and then I also focus on, our early head start fund and our food service fund, and then, present a payroll report, approval of the bills report. Now I've added, since we're in the middle of a HVAC project, I've included that page so the board can keep track of where we're at with our spending. So that's kind of, and I do the same thing every month, and I try to make it fun, but it's numbers. So, so for this month, this is, ending May 31st, our actual revenue for the month that came in was a little over $2 million. We received our last state school fund payment of the year. School districts don't receive state school fund payments in June, but in July we'll receive 2. Our expenses going out for the district this month was just a little over 1.9 million. So bringing our cumulative balance to about 3.3 million. And we will get some taxes in next month, but it'll be very little. So that's really what we're using, and that's our goal, to only spend 3.3 million next month. And June is our most expensive month in the fiscal year. After that report, we have 2 local government investment pool accounts. So I provide that information to the board monthly as well. It shows what our money is, our savings account. And it shows everything that goes into that account and comes out of that account. And then after that, we get a report from the county every month that shows the breakdown of the taxes that we receive. So like for this month, we got a payment of $33,000 in taxes, and $2,300 in addition, but those are back year taxes from 2019 all the way to 2022. And that's just people paying their back taxes that they owe. After that is our middle school bond fund. This is the Fund 310 that we commit everything to paying off our debt. We did make our debt service payment. That payment was $344,955. So our balance in that fund now is $39,778. And our next payment due will be in December. Following that report is our LGIP for our debt service, our middle school bond. So that should just correlate with the operating statement. And then the breakdown of the taxes we received in that account for the month. After that is our early head start operating statement. Total revenue through end of May is a little over $400,000. Our total expenditures have been a little over $374,000. So their ending fund balance right now is about $26,000. And really their expenditures, it's payroll, it's benefits, it's diapers, it's formula. And then Cindy did get those 2 grants to try to work on the outside playground. So she spent some money to fix the playgrounds. And that's why that ending fund balance has dropped, because we've been spending that grant money. Next page is the food service operating statement. Total revenue end of May, it's over $1 million, and total expenditures a little over or almost $977,000. So their ending fund balance is $64,890. We'll have a rough month. I'm just warning you for June, because our accounts are down at summer school, so our revenue is going to be small. I do know they did cut labor, so they don't have as many staff as they did last year. June's a rough month for food service, but I'm hopeful they'll still end well. After that is approval of the bills. Everything that's gone out of the district's checking account from May 3rd. I ran this through June 5th. And Dustin, on this report, it breaks everything down by fund. General fund and then all of our other funds. After that is our May payroll report, which also breaks everyone out by fund. And then I think 3 pages to the end of your packet is the HVAC update. Currently, I think this was as of June 5th, we paid out $630,000. Remember, it's a $4 billion project, so got a lot more out there. And then after that, I provided the Miller Nash invoice for the month of April. Does anyone have questions?
Thank you for all your hard work, we appreciate it.
Thank you.
Okay, we have the consent agenda. Let's look it over and ask questions if we have any before we approve it.
I do have a comment, on the hires, and I have spoken to, Superintendent Johnson about it. I do have concern about transparency with the hiring of the basketball coaches. And it is in particular with the assistant basketball coaches, and it's not because of qualifications or anything like that. It's because when you look at the hiring report in the committee that hired these individuals, there are only 2 people. One is the athletic director, and the other is the head basketball coach. And there is a relationship amongst them, so that is my only comment in the interest of transparency. I do fully recognize the qualifications of these individuals. I see the coach, so I'm aware of that.
We want our secretary to put that in the Okay, is there any other questions or concerns on the consent agenda? If not, would someone like to make a motion to adopt the consent agenda?
I'll make the motion that we adopt the consent agenda as presented.
Is there a second?
I'll second the motion.
All in favor, raise your right hand. Okay, motion is carried. Okay, old business, we thought we were done.
We thought we were done.
Mr. Hopkins, would you like to explain what's going on?
Yes, so you have another calendar copy, like forests are gone now. So with the timeliness of when we adopted the calendar, and due to the fact of availability of the certified teaching union to get their executive team together, that right now we're unable to come up with a way to get professional meetings done. Those are your IEPs, your 504s, your PLCs, all of those things. And so what we're proposing is you have green dates on there that would add another teacher workday in there, just in case. We do have, Mr. Hunter emailed me out 2 weeks ago saying, that first week in August that we're gonna try to get together, get something done. I know the union is getting surveys, is trying to do as much as they can now, but as we would say, hope is not a plan. And so we need to kind of plan for just in case that we can't come up with an agreement. We still need to have those meetings. And so, so that would be in lieu of us coming up with an agreement with the union, is we would have those as a backup.
So you're wanting us to adopt this, saying that the teachers are working free of the floor?
So what I did was I added in one Friday month for those professional meetings, and so that's the only way we can get them done. If school gets out at 3:30 and then teachers are done at 3:45 based on contract, then there's no way we could have those meetings done.
So do we need to adopt this, or?
No, I'm just presenting it to you right now, so we know, and I wanted to, and also, I know that,
Are we
people
eventually
plan
gonna
to
have
do
to
it.
vote on this?
I'm hoping not. I'm hoping that we'll be able to meet before that. But again, we want to communicate early, like this is kind of what we're thinking about to be able to fulfill those obligations. And so we just wanted you guys to be aware of that and communicate that.
So the kids would still go 4 days?
Yep, it's not gonna change any schedules for anybody but the admin and the certified staff. Questions on?
Do we have to talk about this again for August then?
Yeah, I'm, well, like I said, I've been,
Until next March?
last week I was in communication with Bobby, with Britta, the regional, and, yeah, I mean, we're working, and I know that the union's doing everything they can, like I said, to get surveys out, to get some information garnered, but,
Can I ask a question?
Yeah.
Are you looking to have 15 minutes, 30 minutes?
and that is something that we're going to.
That's the question we have, because that's a lot easier to say when we ask the members.
Yeah.
Rather than.
Yes, and so that's something that we would like to sit down and talk about. And so that's why we wanted to meet with the executive team, and so that's part of the conversation, so, yeah.
For the first 20 years of my teaching, teachers couldn't wait till 4 o'clock, so I don't know when it changed to 3:45. It was 4 o'clock forever.
Well, it's an 8-hour day right now, and so if you 7:45 to 3:45,
When it changes the contract, has to result in a bargaining, a demand to bargain, because certified staff is not available right now, they're split to different parts.
So anyway, so like I said, I wanted to communicate with you that this is kind of where we're at. Like, I mean, we can't just, like I said, hope going into what teachers come back is that we have some solutions. This will be our way to fulfill that need.
So in August, we'll come back, or September, we'll come back and say whether or not.
I'm hoping, yeah, I'm hoping we can get something before that. I know that our August board meeting, which will be on the 14th, is that we should have some initial, hopefully, meetings done, or at least conversations, and so we're hoping to have. So, but if not, this is what we're going to do.
Okey-dokey.
Our contract says 8 hours a day.
Yep.
We can't change that, that would be an issue.
Yep.
Okay. And we won't notify until after school go out, so that makes it a continuation to everybody back.
Okay, thank you.
Perfect, thank you.
Okay, under new business, we have the EL curriculum adoption. Somebody was gonna, is that you?
Yeah, I'm very good. And so, presented to you is the EL curriculum adoption that the district would like to adopt. Mrs. Gomez has got some input from EL teachers, and this is an Oregon approved adoption as well. And so they went through the process, and this is our recommendation for the district. Pretty brief.
Have the teachers been trained in using this or?
Not yet.
Yeah, but there will be training.
Yes, there was, yes, and you see it, it's actually built in there.
And that's the only new curriculum we're adding this year, or we have?
We just adopted math, and then we have to adopt EL curriculum as well. So, especially with the new requirements of kind of EL, we had to kind of go away from our old model, and this is something that will help satisfy that.
This is an action item, so we turn into approve it. Does anybody have any questions about that?
Yes.
So what are the younger, the K through 5?
It's Get Ready and Connect.
Yeah.
It's Get Ready and Connect. And it's a science, social studies based EL curriculum, so it'll be really nice because, in our like tight infrastructure of our daily schedule, sometimes science and social studies is the first things that are cut. So if we're using this to teach our EL curriculum, then we'll be able to do it with a science and social studies base. So
I assume there was a budget given, this is how much we can spend, are we within that?
Yeah, I think we're using our Title
Line
III
item.
funds for it, is that correct? Which I think we're at $50,000 for that, so I think we're right there.
just know it's hard when you have, as a teacher, multiple new curriculums to learn in 1 year.
Especially when it's math or ELA, which are the biggest ones, and so, yeah, we realize that.
So one of the good, bad things about current adoptions that we're doing is that through the pandemic, we learned how to do Zoom. So in the past, when we would train people, people would come out here. We would have actual visitors to our school in person to go through all stuff. But now with Zoom, they video a lot of stuff. The teachers can spend time going through it. They can redo it. And so it's actually, I say good, bad, because some people really like having that person there to walk them through stuff. Other people, I think it's just you can review it multiple times. I can't remember this part of the curriculum, but you can review it on the Zoom or the Zoom recording, right? So
it's all on Zoom, all the trainings and.
I don't know if all of it is, but
Some of it's on the website, they have videos that they can watch on the website.
And then it's
I have to say that when I looked at the EL curriculum, I had my teacher lens on as well as my admin lens. And so this curriculum that we picked at the elementary level is going to be very easy for our new teachers to use as well as our seasoned teachers to use. So please know that I did keep that in mind when I was, because I did know that we have a math adoption as well.
Okay, so we need to approve this curriculum.
I would make a motion that we approve the curriculum adoption.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor? Okay, motion is carried. Next is our paid family and medical leave insurance. Insurance guy left here. Is that you also?
It's not going anywhere for a while. With the new Oregon paid family leave medical insurance that we're required to
It starts September 1st.
yeah, it will start September 1st. It is a change in the working conditions, and because there's a 1% that comes out, right, the 7% and the 30%, and so 30% of 1%. And so this is our agreement with the classified union on that. And so we've had several meetings with them, getting our wording down, and so this is that agreement. You guys get, it's a MOU, right? You guys didn't get a copy?
It's not in there?
It was emailed, but I don't see it yet.
Yeah, if anybody needs that.
Sorry about that.
This one where they can say,
Yeah.
Do you think we're gonna have a lot more teachers using this and a lot more need for substitutes because of this?
There is a possibility. And this is only the MOU. We've already approved the third party to help us serve the PLI. They call it like several different names, so I'm just all the time. But this is just the MOU with the classified union.
Was this part of our insurance budget?
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
I mean, I've budgeted.
Cause they're already
Yeah.
taking money out of people's checks, right?
No,
We have not yet started that, but we will.
not until September 20th.
Well, I knew they couldn't use it till September.
Right.
I thought-
But the district chose to go with a third party equivalent plan, so which saves our employees money, because they haven't, if we had gone with the state plan, we would have had to start deducting that money as of January of 2023. So going with an equivalent plan, sorry Ryan, I'm speaking for you, but we don't start that until September.
Okay, and this is also a consent item, so we need to vote on this also. Somebody wanna make a motion? Let's say required.
Yeah. And the MOU is just how we're gonna offer for classified, so it goes in your CBA.
Okay.
So moved.
Second,
Second.
all in favor? Okay, motion is carried. And the last item that you also,
I'm here, let's
is
do
a
it.
benefits clerk.
Yes. And so this is a brand new position, we had budgeted for in our budget committee, so we've already budgeted for it, but this is a brand new position, so what we did was, work with Christy, Crystal, and Megan, and and we came up with a description and example of the job duties. Because of the new requirements of the PLI and just workman's comp, as Dallas was saying, that has increased the workload. And so we've added this in there to really take some of that off.
Is this a full-time position?
It is a 1.0.
Is this the assistant you were hoping for? So you got a 1.0?
Yep. She strong-armed me, so.
I've only been fighting for 5 years.
Yeah.
And Christy.
Well, the problem is we're gonna have Christy, Crystal, and Megan fighting over this person. So,
Well, and this person can fill in if I'm gone.
Yes, absolutely. Yep.
Answer the problem.
I can see this would be a great benefit to y'all.
So you'll post this soon, or is it already posted?
Nope, as soon as you guys, because you have to approve the job description and all that, and then we can post it.
Will they be paid hourly or salary?
Salary, we're looking to make it confidential like our various office, and so, we're in talks with classified group as well over that. And so, but our desire is to keep the same classification as the rest of our business office.
They're gonna be privy to sensitive information,
Yeah.
same as.
That everything is there.
Okay. You want to make a motion to approve this position?
So moved.
Second? All in favor? Okay, motion is carried.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You are earned it. Okay, is there anything else for the good of order before we, go into executive session? Alrighty. I will adjourn this meeting, wait, I have to read this. We will go into executive meeting with ORS 192.660(2D) to consider deliberations with persons designated to carry on labor negotiations.
Do you want me to keep that on?
No requests.
Crystal, do you need this?
Great. No, good work. All right, so this is off. You guys want this off?